Hi everyone, I have quite a few updates. It's been about 3 months since I last did a video on the hut, and a lot has happened since then. I now somewhat live in here. I don't live in here full time, I can't live in here full time, but my bedroom is moved in, so my stuff is in here. I'm in here most of the time in the day when I'm doing bits and pieces, and I no longer have a bedroom in the house. So I'm as moved in as I can be. I'm also absolutely boiling because I now have heat in here, and it was completely tipping it down this morning and cold and miserable. So I started a fire, and then the sun's come out, so it's all warming up a bit outside, and I can't just turn the fire off, so I've just kind of let the fire die, and then obviously the heat stays in here. I was wearing this, which is my little marshmallow jumper thing that Meg got me, which, thank you Meg, because this thing has been a lifesaver and will be a lifesaver for the rest of winter. But I've had to take that off because it's boiling. But I'm glad my heating and installation and everything is working as it should be. That's a good thing. I have made a list of the things that have happened since I last did a video. I watched my last video to see where I kind of finished sharing. And a lot has happened. I'm going to try not to go off on too many tangents. I am excited to share these with you because I feel like once I've shared these and this video, any future hut updates will come in the form of like weekly vlogs rather than a sit down video, which is exciting because it means I've kind of reached a point with the hut where it's just life now. It isn't a project as such. It's still a project, but like it's not a here's my side project whilst I do other things. It's just this is where I'm partly living now, and these are the things I'm doing in my little space to make it more homely or more practical or whatever. So the first thing that I left off on was the floor. We installed the floor, we went on holiday, and then when I came back we were going to do all the sanding and stuff and start getting all that going. I did begin sanding the floor, then I realised I caught COVID on holiday at some point. I don't know how Josh managed to completely miss it, but he didn't have COVID the same time I did. Who knows? Haven't a clue how that happened, but that's how it happened. But yeah, I had COVID for the first time, but I didn't realise I had COVID for the first few days. I just thought I was like drained from the holiday. So I carried on like sanding the floor and was absolutely sweating my ass off. Obviously I realised now I had a fever, so probably not the best thing to be doing because I was like super sweaty. But I got lots of floor sanded. It was really tedious to do because it was just like bits of dust getting in every part of everything. Like my hair just felt horrible, my skin felt horrible. Obviously I was wearing like face protection and stuff, but it still didn't stop it from getting everywhere because there was so much of it. But yeah, I put my little noodle arms to work, got the floor sanded. It looked really good once I'd sanded it, and then I got some stain for the floor because I didn't want to leave them raw. I decided to get some sort of stain. That was not the most fun job. Doing the second coat was definitely more tedious because obviously you can't quite see where you've stained and where you haven't, whereas the first coat you can obviously see where you put the stain down. I keep saying stain, it's like a wax, so like you don't have to put a sealant over the top, so I was trying to skip a step. But I feel like it might have been better to do a stain and do a sealant, because after the wax had been put down it was something that came off on your socks. I don't know if I put too much on, I don't know if there was a technique that I missed out on. I was quite impatient I suppose, because I was like, right, the stain's down, it's had 24 hours, let's move in. But yeah, it come off on your socks, and then I'd go inside the main house, and like we have these vinyl floors on our bathroom. When I'd walk on that, obviously I'd leave slight residue of the wax from my feet, and it was like an ice rink. It was so slippy. So that annoyed my parents a little bit, but it's okay. That only lasted like a couple of weeks or so. But the floors ended up looking really nice. I love that they have a stain on them rather than it just being raw wood. The colour kind of matched. I only had a few choices with that wax stain, but it kind of matches the beams of the main like skylight window. It looks great. I love it. When that was finished, it added sort of colour to the room. It was really pretty. It was a really satisfying moment because it was like, ah, I've done the floors, like they're done. I don't have to do anything else to the floors, they're done. Gave it a little bit of time and then I moved myself in. And by moving in, what I mean by that is I hauled my mattress and cartwheeled it across the garden and plonked it in here. I brought a couple of other little bits and pieces with me and that was it. Because that's all that would really fit in here because I didn't really have storage space for stuff. So unless I wanted just piles of things everywhere, which would have felt really cluttered, it wasn't quite a move-in process. It was a gradual thing. It was quite an adjustment, but I think the way I did it was good for my head where it was more gradual because I find sudden changes really difficult. So when things suddenly happen and I don't have that like adjustment period, I do struggle with it quite a bit. So being able to just gradually move in at my pace and just move things in, find a space for something, not have to worry about like getting all my stuff out and then just plonking it in here and then living in chaos. It's like I could gradually move things bit by bit. Like my mum found it funny because I would just be walking out of the house with like just a table, just a little table, and then I'd come out with like a bag with my TV poking out the top or something. Like it was just lots of random things just kind of going out bit by bit and she was just watching the process from the dining room. A little different to your usual move out process, but it worked for me and it was a nice way to adjust to the change. One of the other things I got sorted as well was the light fittings. I finally got those on the wall. They look beautiful. Even just having light bulbs hanging off the wall was satisfying to me because it was just like it created a different atmosphere in here when the light goes on. But having actual light fittings on the wall, they're just really pretty. I still don't have the light on the inside above the door or on the outside above the door fitted yet. I need to choose them. They're really hard to choose, I realised, because they have to be like a certain style to fit the aesthetic that I've got going on in here. So they kind of need to match these ones but not quite because these ones are too big. It's a process and I'm also on a budget. So I can't just spend money on a fancy light that I like the look of or fits. So I got those fitted. That was really nice because it did feel a bit more like a room rather than a work in progress sort of room. Once I got most things shifted and sorted into here and sorted things in my old bedroom, I could then move my office, my old office, into my old bedroom to create my new office. So that's what I did. That took me a few days. It was definitely bittersweet and I think it comes from the fact that I've moved it around so much in the last few years. So seeing it hopefully in its like final setup was nice. But yeah, definitely strange seeing it like that. The fact I have a space now though to work is amazing. It means that if I don't want to do bits and pieces in here, because I've been journaling a lot in here, like doing the actual journaling part in here, but when it comes to like packing orders, editing videos, having like a desk space inside so I can detach myself from the hut is really nice. It's really, really nice. And Josh has used that a lot as well when he's been here and needed to do work stuff. So he's going to have like one side of the desk for his bits and pieces because he's also got business, and obviously when he's down here it means he can still work on bits and pieces with that. The next thing I had to get sorted was the wood burner. I knew the company I was going to go with, which if you are in Sussex or somewhere local to Sussex, definitely recommend them. They're called My Stove. I will leave a link in the description. I know it's very niche. I know it's not something that everyone is looking for, but if you are looking for a little stove or a little wood burner or something to be installed, they were lovely. He does like a free home check thing. So he comes over, has a look at like the situation where you want it, gives you advice on what you need and stuff. So I knew I was going to go with them to get the thing installed, and I also bought the stove through them as well. I went for I think it's called a Salamander Hobbit stove, and it is adorable. I had to get the backing, like the fire guard bit, sorted, so I used something called concrete backer board or something like that. I can't actually remember what it was officially called. Hardy backer or something like that. It was something, it's a concrete board, so it's heat protecting the MDF, because obviously all my walls are made of MDF. So I can't just put something super, super hot next to it. So I had the concrete backing board, and then to make it look pretty, I also got these tiles, which I ordered from a website. Again, I can't remember it. This was so long. This was like months ago. But I will find links to everything and put it below, because if someone happens to stumble on this video and is doing a similar project, they might want some links, so they'd be down in the description. But yeah, I got these little green tiles which were really, really pretty. They weren't too expensive either. So they all arrived and I learnt how to grout and tile stuff. I got heat resistant grout and tile adhesive. A lot of it was just, I don't know, I kind of not bodge jobbed it. I did it well, but it was more learning as I went. So it's not perfect. There's definitely things I would improve on next time if I did it again. A tile might fall off in the future, I don't know, but at least I know how to put it back on now. Yeah, so I sorted the backing and got that tiled. I also got the base stone as well. That was Indian stone, which is really, really heavy but really, really cheap. This is what was recommended by the stove guy. I went to a guy who cut everything for me. So he cut the base stone to have like no corners, and he cut the concrete piece as well. And then when I was doing the tiling, I had to trim off cuts, which my dad had a tile cutter hidden away in a shed, which tends to be where a lot of, like, I'll say to Dad, do you have this tool? And he's like, yes. Disappears into his shed and comes out with it. Before I glued all of the tiles down as well, I actually got my family to sign the back of some of them. So there's a cute little time capsule sort of thing there, and Josh wrote a little note on the concrete backing board as well. Which was really sweet. So I love things like that when I can make it a bit time capsule-y, because I'm making a lot of things in here from scratch, so I can do that. It makes my little journaly heart very happy to do things like that with the hut. Once I had the base and the backing thingy, I think it's called a hearth or hearth, don't know, the base stone and back tile thing. Once I'd done those, I was able to book in when the stove could be installed, so I sorted that all out. We needed a non-rainy day, and thankfully the day we booked was not rainy. I think it was raining the whole week, and then that one day was a super sunny day. It was really nice. They came along, they installed it. It didn't take them long at all. Cut a big old hole in the roof, which was scary, but they did an amazing job. So after that I had heat in the hut, which was really reassuring because the weather had turned. The week before I got that installed, it had got really cold in the mornings, and I was wearing this thing to bed and waking up and not taking it off. Like, I would wear this 24/7. So the stove couldn't have come at a more perfect time, and it's been really fun and just lovely to have a little fire going in here. It's really sweet. Like, it's really, really sweet. Obviously it's not as easy to put on as just flicking a switch to turn heating on, but I actually like the process of making a fire, trying to make a fire that's going to take, you have to do it a bit more backwards to a normal fire because you have to heat up the flue more, which helps to draw the fire upwards. Fire science. Don't know, I'll learn about it because I now own a fire. But yeah, it's fun, it's nice, it's a little mindful thing that I can do. Just sit down and make a fire and just kind of watch it take and then warm my little hut. After that, the next big purchase, I suppose, that I made was to buy a fridge freezer. Now that I'm in here, having a fridge freezer and being able to have some sort of foods up here, and Bonnie's food as well, because obviously she has like wet food, so I need a fridge to keep that in. So being able to have her stuff up here and some snacks and stuff for me was really, really nice. I could have, as much as it's not the season for it, ice cream. I can have ice cream up here. Which is such a small thing, and I know we're going into autumn, but it's a really nice little novelty to just be able to like take a couple of steps and have an ice cream. Like, I really am enjoying the little things with this whole process. It's so lovely. So yeah, fridge freezer, that arrived. It actually arrived slightly damaged, which was annoying. I did get it on offer on Amazon, which was, it kind of weighed it up a bit, but I still got a fridge that had been bashed in the delivery process, so we had to make a claim on that. But it works. It's just external dents, that's all, which once it's underneath a worktop you're not going to see it anyway. So I have that, and that was really nice. I had to get used to the sound of the fridge because obviously it was dead silent in here before, and now we've got like a little fridge that kind of turns itself off and on, and it makes this cool little blah 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 noise when it turns off and on. So anytime that happens and me and Josh are in here, we both just shout fridge, which has become a little thing. But we've got used to the sound of the fridge turning on and off now. it's just one of those things that it just becomes white noise after a while, so you don't really notice it. One of the smaller things I did was make stepping stones out of the bits of pottery that I dug up from the front garden last year. Last year was my gardening era, where I dug up 6 flower beds at the front of the garden. And whilst I was doing that, because obviously this house and the land here is really old, I was finding bits of pottery. I'm assuming it's because they didn't have like bin day or something. I don't know. Fridge! It makes a cute little popping noise. That was the fridge turning off. But there's loads of pottery in the lawn. And as I was digging the flower beds up, I would pick out all these pretty bits of pottery and keep them, and I clean them. And I've had them in the loft for the last year with the intentions to use them for mosaics. And that's what I did. I made 2 stones myself, and then I made one with Josh as well, with a little house on. It meant we have some little stepping stones going up to the hut now, which means when the weather changes and it absolutely pisses it down, we're not going to get ridiculously muddy. One of the other project things that I did that was kind of like a mini project, but it was such a big important thing for the hut, was a table. I was looking on Facebook Marketplace, I was looking on just like cheaper secondhand antique places for some sort of antique table, because I didn't want to get a brand new table. I also needed something that was small, something that could potentially fold up. So I was scouring these websites and stuff to try and find a table, and I just couldn't find anything that was reasonably priced. I was looking for something that I could do up because it would have been cheaper, and I know I could have done it up nicely. And then my dad said, we have a load of tables down the lake. We have like a shed area down the lake where my grandparents are buried. Family members and friends and stuff just kind of like donated chairs and tables down there over the years to be used at the lake. So I had a dining table from when I was going to be moving to a house. It'd been in the shed for the last year or so, and it was not the best condition, but obviously it was too big to really use in the hut. It didn't fold up. It was just a basic big old oval dining table. So I was like, okay, if there's a table down the shed that would work better in here, can I just swap it? Like, can I do a like for like swap? And he was like, yeah, of course. So we went down the lake. We brought the table anyway because I wasn't going to use it. It may as well just go down the lake. Went into the shed to have a look, and there was a gate leg table down there, which was absolutely ideal. It meant it could open up into a big oval size table, the same size table as I had before, but it folded down to this like just tiny slither of a table, and I could have half of it up, which is what I use it as now. It was really bad condition. It was not in good condition at all. It was covered in mud. There was a few little holes from like woodworm, which I was a bit concerned about, but there wasn't many. It wasn't like it was riddled with It wasn't like it was riddled with woodworm. It just had a couple of holes, which didn't look fresh, so my fingers were crossed for that. And the top of it had a few dents and stuff. It was just a lake table. It wasn't anything to be precious about. But I saw potential with it and decided to take it home. And so we took it back to the house. I spent the whole afternoon sanding it down, cleaning it up. I bought some woodworm spray stuff on Amazon. I left it for 24 hours and then sanded things down again. And then I put on a sealant thing. I was going to stain it, and then I realised that actually the grain had come up really, really nice on the table. And the colour of it's darker than the other wood that I have in the hut, but it was still a really nice colour, and I didn't really want to stain it, so I just used this wood varnish that I had before. I think I'd used it on other wooden indoor products. I used it on the little watercolour palette thing that I made. It's just basic furniture. I think it's Furniture Clinic. It's from Amazon. Really good stuff. Really decently priced as well. It's not a crazy product. It's just basic and does the job. So I put a couple of coats on that. And for the top of it, I did the thing where I put a coat of the varnish stuff, and then I sanded it, and then I put another coat, and then I sanded it, and I think I did 3 coats in the end, and it's come up so beautiful. So beautiful. I am absolutely in love with my table. Like, it's one of my favourite things in the hut right now. The next thing to sort and look at sorting was the internet. The internet was not bad in here in terms of the speed of it. We have these like booster things that I put one in the kitchen window of the house, and it helped to boost it to the hut. So I was getting like a download speed of 30, which isn't bad for just like Wi-Fi connecting to like a booster thing. But because it was like going through stuff, it was dropping out quite a lot. Like it was inconsistent. It was disconnecting from devices. Every time like I locked my phone, it would disconnect and I have to reconnect, and it was just not. It was a bit unstable, which we don't judge, but it needed to be sorted. So I looked into getting the Ethernet, the cable, for connecting our router to one of the boosters in here. So I brought one of the boosters up here basically, and it's now connected with a wire to the house, which wasn't massively, like it wasn't a massive issue to be able to do that because we already have wires coming out to the shed from the house, which the shed is just next door to the hut because the shed needs light and there's a toilet in there and there's electricity in there. It's not a massive deal to run a cable just alongside those. The issue was doing the cable running, like actually getting the time to do it and stuff. Thankfully, Josh actually knows someone who had the stuff to do like cable running for the internet and stuff. And he let him borrow his tools and everything and the cable. So when Josh was here, we spent a day just getting that sorted. My dad also gave a hand as well with getting it like where to go and where he thought the best place to put it was. But once it was done, it was done. It was still a bit, it wasn't the most amazing speed ever. But I think it was because the tools that we borrowed were quite, what's the best way to put it? They were old. They just weren't the best tools. Once Josh had left with the tools, I managed to accidentally knock one of the cable thingies off the end of the cable. I don't know what they're called, plastic sticky in the back of your router thingies, the little plastic bit. That came off and you can't put them back on without the tool. So I had no internet for a bit, which was really frustrating, and I was very frustrated with myself. But Josh ordered a new tool to the house and I became an electrician for the day. It was actually really simple. We had learned a little tune, like we'd made a little song to how the wires were meant to be. So it was like speckled orange, orange, speckled green, blue, speckled blue, green, speckled brown, brown. So we had this little like thing of which way the wires were meant to go in the cable. So I knew all of that. That's now seared in my brain. Probably a good thing. It will come in handy at some point, I'm sure. And I fixed it. I managed to fix the cable and I checked the internet speed and it was on a download speed of 600. So it's probably a good thing that it fell out the back because it meant we could actually use a proper tool to do it properly and cut the wires perfectly so that the connection was perfect. So that's really good. I have amazing internet speed up here now and I'm so grateful for that because it's one less thing I have to worry about. It doesn't drop out anymore. It means I could work up here if I needed to. It means I can watch TV without it buffering. It means I can go on social media without sitting there and waiting for stuff to load. Just little things, but I'm really grateful to have that sort of speed up here. The last thing I have to update you on is the kitchen worktop area. I managed to get all of the wood ordered and plywood ordered for the kitchen worktop and we spent a day building it. The kitchen worktop started as a doodle in my notebook and we somehow managed to work out together the sizes we needed, the height of everything, how many pieces we needed for each section, but we cut them all out, we screwed them all together and we made a frame for a worktop which is now sat over here. It means we're one step closer to having some sort of kitchen area in here, which I cannot wait for, like being able to cook food up here and not have to walk back and forward from the kitchen. It's gonna be so nice. It's gonna be so nice. We're gonna get one of those, I think they're called induction hobs. I don't know, like a 2 circle hob things that you plug in and then you can unplug it and put it away rather than having like an oven top. We won't have an oven, but I'll have an air fryer. So there's options and we can always go back to the house and use the oven there if we really want to. But that's the last update on where we've got to with the hut. I realise I've just absolutely rambled my way through that. I try to keep it short and concise. I'm really happy with the timeline and how things have kind of panned out. I'm still on track in the timeline in my head, if that makes sense. It's progressing and I love it. I feel like it's given me mental space, which I haven't had in years. Like, I don't actually remember the last time I felt this peaceful, I think is the best way to describe it. I still have my moments of being very depressed. I still have my moments of dipping. I definitely still struggle. My ADHD struggles are still very much there. They still throw me off course. I still have a lot of bed days, but the fact that I'm able to manage the bed days and being thrown off the horse in somewhere like this, it means there are less like domino effect of other things that I'm then stressed about. I can kind of just be here and reset and not be too stressed. But yeah, that's my little update. I hope you enjoyed. As I said at the start, going forward from here, I won't be doing any more hut updates. It will be just general vlog style videos again, mainly because I want to get back into the whole swing of things with work and being able to kind of share a bit of work stuff and a little bit of what we've been doing on the hut and just like document life stuff. That's the sort of direction I want to go with sharing stuff in terms of the hut. I'm not giving myself a schedule with videos just yet because I'm still getting back into the whole editing process and filming and sitting down and doing stuff. I'm gonna go now because I need to get some lunch, and then I might be going on a walk with my friend who I said it would take me about half an hour to film this video and it's been almost an hour. So I need to message her. I really hope you're all doing well. Thank you so much for watching and following this little hut journey along with me, and I will see you in my next video, which shouldn't be 3 months away. I will definitely do a video before 3 months. It's not going to be 3 months, don't worry. Yeah, I will see you then.